Okay, here we go. Take two. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Yeah, okay, let's see. I think it's epic. It's huge. It's amazing. The battle at Minas Tirith, it's like three or four in a row, and then there's another one. The action is awesome. I really like it. Not just the action, but the characters. It really comes to a big climax. Um, so I give all three movies now 10 out of 10. I think Fellowship is more self-contained. In fact, I feel it's a little bit like the Grand Theft Auto games, where Grand Theft Auto 3 I thought was really good. There's nothing I would take out, but it could just have more stuff. Like Fellowship is a bit like that. If anything, it'd be great if it had a bit more action, but the action is satisfying. It's good, and it's got quite a bit of variety, and there's nothing too annoying. But then the Two Towers is like more stuff, way more features, and the trees that, or I should say, the Ents, and the Battle of Helm's Deep is awesome. But there's you used to get to see a dragon a bit, elephants a little bit. But it's got some flaws, I think, with Sam and Frodo. And the Return of the King is sort of just more to the more extreme. It's even bigger with action, but then I really have so there's a few issues I have. So let's start with Sam and Frodo and what happens with them. I don't I don't like Gollum that much. He feels a bit like a cliche character, like a ooh, I'm a little, oh my precious. I get the character. I get that he was a hobbit and he now is obsessed with the ring. By the way, while I remember the opening, I don't know if it's a prologue. I don't know but relate whatever. The bit where you see Schmeagol become Gollum, I found it weird. First off, Schmeagol already had a funny voice, but more so, it reminds me of The Passion of the Christ, right? That was a weird movie where it's like, why would you make a movie about Jesus just being killed, like being tortured and killed at that part? Like, you should be making a movie about everything except that, okay? At the end, oh, he gets caught. We know what happens. We don't need to see it. It's just violent. And I feel like this is the same where I want to see Schmiegel when he was younger, when he was, what was he like? Was he a kind person, a loving person, selfish? Did he already have, he could have been already homicidal for all I know, insane. And maybe that's why he was more susceptible. But they showed the really obvious part, which is when they find the ring, they fight over it, and to the point that one of them kills the other. And the thing is, I don't know the order, but I'm pretty sure Deagle chokes him before Schmeagol. Plus, he's got a stupid name, Schmeagol, Deagle, anyway, whatever. Or Smeagol, and then he ends up killing him. It could have easily gone the other way, and Deagle could have got it. And I think it's a misconception. People think, wow, it's really interesting. You get an insight into what Smeagol was like. No, you don't. You just see what he looked like as a hobbit. That's it. It's just Andy Serkis. And then you get a few shots of him changing. And what was funny was it looked real when it was Andy Serkis as a creepy little thing. I thought that would have worked better. Gollum in CGI, I just, like I said, in the Two Towers, it's not convincing for a second, for a moment. Roger Ebert at the time said it was convincing, but I completely disagree. At the time, I didn't think it looked good, and now I don't. Anyway, so that part I think was unnecessary, or should have shown what Smeagol was really like. I tend to feel like Sam is right the whole movie, all of the Two Towers and the Return of the King. He's there for Frodo every second. He sees that Gollum is lying or tricking them. I get that Frodo sees himself in Gollum a bit. He sees that okay, there's has to be good in him, a little bit like with Luke and Darth Vader, and it's that gives him strength if he can see that. Oh well, if there's still good in Gollum even after all this time, then maybe I can survive the ring, and it's weighing on me. And we don't know exactly how Frodo's feeling, but the thing is, in the context, Bilbo had it for like 100 years or at least 50 years, and he didn't get, he sort of wanted it, but he gave it to Gandalf relatively easily. Um, so it seems silly. Frodo's only had it for like, I don't know, a few weeks, or I'm not sure exactly what the time scale is. So why is it so like why is he so worried? It shouldn't. And Gollum had it for 500 years, and he's still alive, and he's creepy, but he's not like super duper evil. That like I mean that's the point. If you can get even a little bit of good out of him, Frodo shouldn't have to worry too much. But anyway, I get that there's maybe a difference. Sauron is powerful now, and they're getting closer and closer to Mount Doom. But anyway, so that was an issue that it felt like it repeated a lot. I felt like Shelob was going to be at the start of the Return of the King. That's what I thought. It implied that at the end of the Two Towers, We're an hour and a half into Return of the King, and nothing has happened with Frodo and Sam. Like they've just argued. And Sam's been right the whole time, and Frodo didn't trust Sam. By the way, Gollum does this thing. He sprinkles the food, and then he throws the food away, and points it out on Sam's thing. And Sam's like, "Well, I didn't eat it." But then okay, so Frodo gets upset, blah blah blah, which makes Frodo look like a jerk. If I was Sam, I would have killed Gollum that many times, and even I would have grabbed Frodo and shaken him and say, "Look, just listen to me, trust me. I didn't." But when Sam goes back down, by the way, I really like Sean Astin's acting. I think he was great, and all those moments affected me. And there's always this bit where it's ba 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 na 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 na. We get that it's a really intense for them, and they're walking and going through stuff. Which, by the way, you don't have to show all the walking. I don't understand. You don't show traveling in movies. Don't if they get from here to here, we assume okay, they traveled somehow. They drove a car, they walked in this case. We don't need to see all the walking. But anyway, he'll say, Frodo, do you remember the Shire? And but the thing is that moment works great, but it happens like 5 times. We don't need it that many times, just once, okay? The rest, I think, actually have some suspense and cut away from them. Have more of the action, more of what's going on with the, Aragorn and Legolas and the army of Rohan and all that, Minas Tirith, which there's plenty of. But yeah, anyway, yeah, when Sam gets down, he falls down and then he finds the food and he's like surprised. I don't understand that. He knows he didn't eat it, so why is he surprised and why does he then go back up? Like what was like? How did that change? Plus, he grabs the food and he's like, oh, and crushes it through. He knows. He knows. He saw Gollum up. He knew Gollum was scheming. Gollum had been giving him dirty looks, which was annoying to me. I was like, I would just grab Gollum or Smeagol, whatever you want to call him. Like and plus, I felt like it was going backwards from the two towers. It felt like they were starting to connect with him as Smeagol, and then that was. And if you look at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, he lives up to his reputation as Gollum. He's like betrays them and fights them and becomes a huge problem. He tries to kill Frodo. So anyway, and then tries to steal the ring as well. But anyway, so I'm just on Sam's side completely. But yeah, I don't get why Sam was surprised. And why didn't he eat the food? They were starving. How could you? It's like that kind of inconsistency that is annoying to me, okay? And there was another bit where Frodo wanted a drink and Sam said there's barely any left. And then Frodo takes it and he spills half of it. There's not much and he spills half of that made me so angry. I don't know why. I just, like, how hard is it? I don't care if you're exhausted, you aim it and you don't spill any of it. You get all of it in your mouth. Just so lazy. And I didn't like the fact that there's huge battles going on. People sacrificing their lives, creating a huge diversion, and Frodo and Sam are nearly there. And Frodo's like, I don't know if I could go. You've been traveling for 3 movies. Like, just make it look more like you were really trying. It didn't feel like he was trying. And then Sam has to actually carry him. If you look at Sam also carries the ring for a while without even telling him. Anyway, and then at the end of the movie, so that was one thing. Just that it wasn't even bad. It's still good. The movie, every scene, every shot of the movie, every acting moment is good. There's nothing bad, but it just felt like, oh, I get it already. I get it, and I didn't like Gollum, and it felt artificial. That drama. Anyway, okay, let's cut to the ending. The ending of the movie, like all the resolutions. Okay, I think they're actually very good. I think the problem is the reason people feel like there's so many endings, and there are, is that it keeps fading to black, and it has nice music, and it's like a perfect ending, and then it goes again. And I think that's more of an editing thing. It gives the wrong impression. But having said that, it also makes sense that with that big series, 3 movies, you need a big resolution. And it's kind of, I remember Mass Effect 3 on PlayStation 3 or whatever, like there was a big backlash because the ending was so abrupt. People wanted more of a proper ending to really know what happened. So Return of the King gives you that, and I think it works. But the part where so Frodo's sitting in the bed, he sort of wakes up, and then everyone comes in. I don't know if it's slow motion. Gandalf laughs with him. That it just felt weird and a bit, again, cliche or cliched. I don't know which, whatever. But and then Merry and Pippin jump in, and they're smiling and laughing, and I don't know. I don't want to say it's like gay, but gay is in it's also like literally gay, but also like why are we so happy about oh, we see each other again. Like I get that that emotion would be there, but I feel like it's unnecessary. We can guess that. Plus, Sam, again, Sam appears, and it's like, wait a minute, Sam was with Frodo the whole time. Why is he also there? Why none of them said hello to Sam unless we interpret that Sam woke up like 10 minutes earlier and the same thing happened in his bed. That Merry and people were like Sam and ran in and hugged him, and then Gandalf's like, hey Sam, and then whatever, Gimli and Legolas come in one at a time and they all say hey and give a hug. Like I feel like Sam is completely left out. It's like not fair. Anyway, all right. The other big flaw, and then I'll go to the awesome stuff, was there's so many not climaxes, cliffhangers. There's a part where Gandalf is fighting the Witch King, and then the Witch King's about to kill him. He's like lost his stuff, and then oh, and it cuts back and forth. It's like the Gandalf is like, I got the look of, oh no. I mean, I don't know exactly, but it happens so many times. And then the Witch King is like about to, and then there's a horn, and then they both look, and it's like, the Witch King just leaves. Like, why would you do that? It's going to take you 5, 10 seconds to kill Gandalf, or I don't know, 30 seconds, toughest case scenario. Just kill him, and then go. Why? Oh, I heard a horn. Oh, is it like a thing with the Witch King? He hears a horn, he has to go see what it is and fight. Like I get it draws his attention, but it would have made more sense if it drew his attention and Gandalf was actually able to do something and escape. But it just was silly. An analogy in chess: if you're about to checkmate an opponent, you don't like, oh, they threaten my bishop. Oh no! So I protect my bishop instead of just checkmating them. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, earlier before that, Pippin's getting attacked, and then it's like, oh, he's gonna get killed, and then Gandalf helps him, and then Gandalf's gonna get hit, and then Pippin kills or stabs one of the orcs. Um, Same thing happens with Sam and Frodo with the spider. The spider's coming, and Frodo's clumsily cutting through this thing, and it's just so, it feels like a Saturday morning cereal or something like, but in a bad way. Like, oh, I feel like it's gonna freeze frame and like, will Frodo survive to the next episode of the Lord of the Rings? Will the spider get him? It's like we know it's gonna be some happy ending, but that's the thing. I feel like I'm at the whim of the director or the writers, and it doesn't really have tension. It just becomes the same thing every time, building it up in annoying ways, rather than when they build up a big battle and they've got huge armies coming in. That's different. That's real tension and like feeling like they're gonna have to fight and there's risk involved, but there's hope, there's a chance of this and that, and it's so exciting when finally, when that ghost army comes, it's so cool. Same as when the elves arrived at Helm's Deep. That was just there are so many moments that really affect me. But yeah, I didn't like the spider. Like if in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, at least the spider talks. I forget his name. It sounds like a Lord of the Rings name. I swear, it's something similar to Aragorn or Aragoth. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So plus, it's also physics-wise, it doesn't make sense. There's a reason animals do not grow that large, or insects, and I guess it's an arachnid, an arthropod, or whatever. A long time ago, there used to be more oxygen in Earth's atmosphere, and so that allowed larger animals. I'm not trying to like super nitpick, but like the physics has to add up, and he's that heavy, and it's so stupid that he can't kill Sam. Come on, how hard could that be? Just squash him, just jump at him. It's like constantly moving around with its legs, and Sam's like this pudgy little hobbit with a tiny little sword and a little light, which he loses, and they never pick it up. Plus, how did they know? I love when they give. Why didn't Gadriel just tell Frodo what it did? Like she just said, when the times are dark and you need to use it, and it's like, oh, so that was for the Sheller bit. That's the part that it was written in for. It just feels very artificial. The same as I don't hate when characters don't communicate. When Aragorn just leaves and walks through that valley, and King Theoden's like, where's he going? And all the soldiers are like, okay. They're just leaving us, I guess. Like, why couldn't Aragorn just say, look, King Theoden, it's just, I want us to win, and I heard there's this big army, and it's risky, but we might be able to get an army of the dead, fingers crossed, so I'm going to leave. And then leave quietly when no one else can see it, and King Theoden can say, Aragorn has gone on a mission, great importance and danger, there is still hope, or something like that. Instead, he just leaves without explanation, and then Legolas and Gimli go along, which I buy, but they don't even ask. I know we don't have to see all the discussion, but it really makes it clear that he just left. I hate when people do that in real life and then in movies. Let me just pause for a second. Okay, so just quickly, some more cliffhangers when Aowen, which I really like her character. In fact, I like all the characters. One thing I should actually say with all the movies is the acting is really good. The casting, it feels like it's a passion project for every single actor. The director, the screenwriters, everyone. The lines are so sincere. So even though a lot of the lines are kind of cliche, I was curious how many of them actually originated from the Lord of the Rings. Even the thing, no parent should have to uh, bury their child. I don't, that's in the Two Towers, but I don't know. Maybe that phrase has been around for a while. There are others like, whoever goes in there never comes back. No one has come back alive or something. It's like, yeah, I've heard that before, but they're so sincere that it comes along. But yeah, Eowyn, I really liked how, she's a woman, but she's capable of fighting it. She's very beautiful. She's very attractive. I don't think I. It's weird how maybe your taste can change over time. I find her very attractive now. But anyway, yeah. Again, she has this moment with the Witch King, and then Mary stabs. I really liked that though as well because to me it's kind of funny when the Witch King says no human can kill me. I don't know if he means no. No, he didn't say that. He said no man can kill me. I don't know if he means a man. I think he just means human beings. That's the terminology that gets used. The race of men. They don't mean men. They mean humans. But we say mankind. That's just for her to say, "I am no," I am no man, and then like just that moment before he gets stabbed in the face, he must be thinking like, "Wait, no, no, no. I'm not saying women can't fight. Like adds insult to injury. Not only is he getting killed, he's getting told that he's sexist right before he gets killed. He's like, well, no, no. Maybe I don't know. And then I didn't know. Is it like a prophecy that no man will ever be able to kill um, whatever the Witch King, the leader of the Nazgul? I don't know if it was literal. I thought, yeah, it just seemed funny. It reminds me of what was it? Something just occurred to me. I remembered Macbeth, where it's like the third thing is, you will never not be king unless the trees themselves or something approach you. And then, of course, they actually bring leaves to cover themselves. And then he's like scared, which is funny in Macbeth because it's like, how does he know the prophecy is true? I think people sometimes make it self fulfilling, but anyway, I think it's just funny. All right, I should talk about. There's another part that's hilarious when they when they get to when Frodo's about to put the ring in, drop it. I get that there's a moment where he's tempted, but I thought like it was again a kind of a cliche that he gives in and then he must put it on. I thought that was silly. I think it would have worked better if it was like a moment of tension and then maybe he looks at Sam and there's something a flashback, a memory. That's a chance, and you have slow motion and cut to the battle and there's this sudden fear. I remember I got sort of chills of like, oh my god, what if they got this far and then he doesn't throw it in and something goes wrong. I don't mind that. I think that works as a moment. But you've got to believe in like have the message that Frodo is so good that he's able to avoid it. But that's a chance to have a little message. Sam maybe says a few words that reminds him, or um, Sam, yeah, like just a little moment, flashback, and then you have that moment of tension and then he drops it and that would just be great. And no Gollum, but anyway, it just becomes this silly, I gave in. But that moment that moment when he puts on the ring and Sauron suddenly detects I think Sauron would be crapping his pants. That would just to see if you somehow see his facial expression at that moment. Like you can see the eye, but just like you're like, oh, there's a battle coming. Hopefully we can defeat them with the orcs. I don't know why they're trying. They don't have a chance. Some of the evil, and it's like, what? Oh my Jesus! The ring is right. Oh, they're about to. Oh my god! And then, and then Frodo and Gollum are fighting, and it would just be hilarious if they were like grabbing each other, the ring flies through the air, and Sauron's like, oh my, just catch it, someone. And he's like, oh jeez, every time they catch it, he's like, can't you just move away? If you're going to kill each other, just do it somewhere else. I don't know, I just find that funny. But the part where it finally does get destroyed, and then the thing kind of collapses, and then and then it's kind of lucky that everything collapses under their feet except for around the army very nicely. Um, but yeah, that was epic. There was a moment where I felt like I was fighting to the death in Middle Earth and like part of this world, and we did the impossible. We saved it. There is good. We can live on. There will be peace. Evil has been defeated. It really builds up the odds, so you feel like it's impossible. Okay, yeah. So I should mention just that yeah, Minas Tirith is so amazing. The set looks great, and if you call it a set, that's one of the best things I think is with the special effects. It's not just CGI. It's not just stunt work. You know, it's a combination. There's I'm sure miniatures, and what's good to me, good special effects, you can't tell what's what. That makes it work. And it, like, I actually saw a movie La Belle et la Bête, just Beauty and the Beast in French, I think, with my brother. It's maybe from 1942. I just remember a part. It's in black and white, but something happened. They like drop a necklace and it turns into something else, something like that, and it just looked crazy. I was like, how did it look like magic? And I'm sure it was just a little cut or something. They edited it somehow, but it looked so cool. And to me, that's like what good special effects are about. Is like something happens, and you think, wait, how did that even happen? Like it was really cool. So with Minas Tirith, it's like that. I don't know how many of the elements are real, or if they were filmed separately and they're put in, or if this part is CGI but this person is real. Um, yeah, it works really well, and a lot of the background stuff might be CGI, and it's also really clever. I noticed in Helm's Deep and in Minas Tirith, a lot of it is filmed so that the shot you're seeing only has maybe 20 people, so it could have been done for real. A lot of it, I think, is just done for real, but it creates huge scope by having key shots where you see a big thing and you see, like, you know, just masses of armies and trolls and whatnot, and um, you know, intercut, and there's other parts where there's just a little detail in the background, which I noticed a lot of, and I thought, you know, they didn't even need to put that in the background. They could have just left it out in that shot, but it's a really nice attention to detail that really works. I think that's the key to attention to detail. It's not something that stands out and says, this part is the detail, this part is the backstory. It's just something that's always there in the background that adds to it. Um, Okay, so just a few other things. I felt like I was able to follow the story of The Lord of the Rings a lot better this time watching them through. I know what Rohan is, that area, and Gondor. It's both cities of men, I guess. And the fact that with Minas Tirith it was multiple armies coming in waves. Okay, the elephants are like the people from the east. There's the boat people or whatever, the people on the boats. And Aragorn went on his mission to get the people of the dead. Even that felt a bit silly, where they like, it seems like the army of the dead are deliberately difficult, and then again they don't communicate. They sort of disappear, and then all these skulls start falling, and it's like, wait, is that a yes or a no? Are they trying to kill them? Like, they finally escape. I think maybe it was a test. Maybe it was meant to test, are they brave enough? If they can escape alive, then we'll help them. But anyway, another thing with one of the later endings really moved me when the hobbits go to Aragorn, and it's all fun and exciting, and he's the king now, and they bow to him. And I was thinking, I mean, it surprised me in the cinemas. I completely didn't expect it. I thought he would sort of smile at them and sort of nod or say, "You are welcome in my land any time," and they'd sort of smile and laugh, you know. But instead, he immediately says, "You bow to no one," and bows down to them, and then either following their king or out of their own personal reverence towards the hobbits, everyone bows, and these little hobbits are just standing there like, we're the center of attention. That's really moving and beautiful. The part with the very end where they go off on the ship, I didn't completely get what that is, and it feels a bit weird. It seems like suicide, like they're going off to their second life, like this weird, peaceful place. I get that Frodo maybe can't live the same life, but I thought, you know, can't he be part of I don't know, just change his lifestyle, go off, be a traveler? That's now what he's good at. Maybe, I mean, he wrote the story, but the other thing, it is a flaw in terms of fantasy. I think Lord of the Rings is great, it's imaginative, but it puts too much on this ring, and it seems to miss the point that, like, you know, there can be problems in the world anyway. Like, oh, now that the ring is destroyed and Sauron's gone, everything's perfect. But that's not, to me, a more noble movie can really explore the themes that already exist. That, like, that's why I don't like it in a way. Surrounds this ring too much. It puts too much power. It's like, how did Sauron get so powerful that he could make a ring? Why can't they make other rings? Or what's so special about him? I prefer the idea of there's magic inside you and you can bring it out, and it doesn't explore that. Also, another aspect would be I like fairy tales, or I think they relate to fantasy. But in that case, you would have a powerful ring, but it wouldn't be attached to Sauron or anything. It wouldn't make you evil. It would just be purely, it gives you powers. And then you would explore the idea of why is it dangerous to have something that gives you a lot of power? And then you can explore how someone gets it and uses it for good, and then slowly they start doing things for their own sake and they become corrupted. Not out of some magical force or Sauron's influence, but just purely out of the psychological effect of having something that's really powerful. And that happens to people all the time, even if, some people are good looking and then they're conceited as a result. Not always, but there can be a pattern there. But it doesn't explore any of that. So I think in a way, Return of the King lacks the deeper, or all of the Lord of the Rings lacks deeper psychology. It's really beautiful, and you get where the characters are coming from, but there's no, I don't know, just that aspect is not there as much. Anyway, I better wrap up. So I really like it. The big epic action parts with Minas Tirith were so exciting. Bits of comedy mixed in. Just overall, the whole trilogy, really great acting and directing. So yeah, again, I think it's flawed, but some of those parts really affected me. Return of the King has parts that affected me like nothing else. So Schindler's List has done that. I think maybe Forrest Gump. I can't think of. So E.T. There are certain movies. So to do that, even just for a little bit, to have a moment where there's a climax and it's in that moment you feel something. I like when they arrive at the Black Gate. I got a comment by the way. Every war, the armies come together, and then there's just a few of them, the leaders trot off, and it's like, we have all the rules. Okay, hello. So we want to have a battle, a war. Okay, so do you want to start in 5 minutes? Or like, I didn't get it. Why does Sauron just leave the gate closed? Why does he open it? Like, it's etiquette. Oh, you have to, if someone wants to battle, you have to come out to meet them for battle. And of course, that face was so creepy with the helmet and the mouth. I think it's the mouth of Sauron. That was a good example. I couldn't tell if it was real or CGI makeup. By the way, I have to say the orcs look really good. I really like because that's using makeup, and I guess it's just makeup basically, but they look really creepy and weird, and the acting is good, and I just think that should have happened with Gollum. But anyway, but yeah, that face is so creepy, and the things he says are so mean and evil, and I just was feeling it myself. And I don't know, why not let us be in mystery about Frodo at that point? We seem to know what's going on with Frodo. It might have been more effective if we didn't know, if we were in suspense, because then we would think, oh my god, is it true? How did they get the armor? Aragorn just cuts his head off. It's like, come on, who's evil here? Like, I get it. I don't feel bad for the guy. You're fighting the pure forces of evil. That was another weakness. It's just the orcs are evil. You don't need to question it. And it's like, well, real life is not like that. And if you want to really get into understanding humanity, good and evil, which is what fantasy should be about, that's it. Yeah, anyway. And yeah, and then they have the big battle. All right, I'll leave it there. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for all of them. So thanks for watching. Bye.